Imagine being sealed inside a steel fortress where every breath tastes like diesel and every inch of space is a constant reminder of the battlefield. The air is thick, the heat suffocating, and the walls seem to close in with every passing second. This is not just a machine. It's a lifeline, a weapon, and a second home. Welcome to the unforgiving world inside a Russian tank. The T-72 is something more than just a military vehicle. It is a sign of power, resistance, and the will of survival. Built to brave the turmoil of war, this Russian tank speaks as much about the people inside the tank as about firepower and engineering. Under its armor lies not a story of steel and machinery, but of the human spirit of teamwork, grit, and sacrifice. To the crew, life inside this tank is not just a job. It is a relentless commitment, a way of life carved out of discipline, danger, and unrelenting challenges. This is a world where comfort does not exist, where every moment is survival, and where every inch counts. Let's step inside and discover what it truly means to live and fight within the walls of a military tank. While the world may see tanks as symbols of destruction and might, for the men who operate them, tanks are fortresses of survival. The T-72, one of Russia's most iconic tanks, is designed for one purpose: to endure and perform in the harshest conditions. With its heavy armor and powerful weaponry, the Russian T-72 tank is built to dominate battlefields. Yet, for the crew, it is both a weapon and a cage. Its reinforced shell protects against enemy fire, but it also traps heat, noise, and the weight of responsibility. Inside this fortress, there is no room for error, and every function, every gear, gauge, and lever serves a critical purpose. The crew must learn to master the machine, and in doing so, forge a bond that transforms cold steel into a vessel of survival. The interior of the Russian tank is another world. The space inside is oppressively small, dark, and crowded. There is no room for luxury or even comfort inside a T-72. The tank normally carries 3 men: the driver, the gunner, and the commander. They are squeezed together in a space so tight that every movement feels restricted. The air smells of diesel, oil, and sweat, a concoction that adheres to one's body and remains for days on end. Food rations were jammed into any little nook or cranny, tucked in amongst ammunition, tools, and personal effects. There's no room to stretch, no privacy, and no escape from the machine's unceasing vibrations. Everything has a purpose, even the tiniest act. Every lever, switch, and control has to be turned, flipped, or moved with delicacy. Communication is not just imperative. It is a matter of life and death. Trust amongst the crew becomes implicit because their lives depend on it. The driver sits at the front of the tank, cramped into a compartment that is barely large enough for his body. Around him is a maze of levers, pedals, and controls. Visibility is limited to a narrow viewing slit and a small periscope, which transform the outside world into a distorted, narrow vision. Driving the Russian tank is no ordinary task. This 40-ton beast demands strength and endurance to steer. Every bump in the terrain shakes the driver violently, each turn of the lever requiring immense effort. Mud, snow, and rocky ground challenge physical stamina and mental focus. The driver has to anticipate every movement, reacting in seconds to changes in the battlefield environment. Despite the difficulties, the man-machine bond is developed. The driver knows the character of the tank, its strong points, its whims, and its limitations. After some time, the tank is no longer just a piece of steel and gear. It is a trusted friend. Behind the driver sits the gunner, the man responsible for the tank's deadliest weapon. The 125 mm smoothbore cannon of the T-72 is a wonder of destruction, capable of firing armor-piercing rounds, high-explosive shells, and guided missiles. But this weapon is not that easy to handle. The gunner manages complex targeting systems that work out the range, wind speed, and elevation. Every shot requires precision down to the split second, often in the heat of battle. The tank's autoloader system automatically feeds shells into the cannon. This is a feature specific only to Russian tanks. But if it breaks down, the gunner has to race against time to eliminate jams or manually reload while under enemy fire. It's a role that joins deep technical knowledge with unshakable poise. In a situation of extreme pressure, he has to make decisions literally in the gunner's life and for the mission. Above the driver and gunner sits the commander, the brain of the operation. The commander's job is to oversee everything, from navigation to targeting to communication. Drawing on optics, radios, and sensors, the commander monitors threats, issues orders, and coordinates the tank as one cohesive unit. But the commander's role is not just about strategy, it's about leadership. In the chaos of battle, the crew looks to the commander for guidance and reassurance. Every decision carries weight, and the consequences of a mistake are unforgiving. The commander is the steady hand amid the storm, the voice that keeps the crew focused and united. Life inside a Russian-made tank is brutal on body and mind. Inside the T-72, temperatures swing to such unbearable extremes that in summer the metal hull traps blistering heat, turning the vehicle into an oven. In the winter, freezing winds seep through every seam to leave the crew shivering in their gear. There is no ventilation, no heating, and no relief from the elements. Sleep is stolen in short, restless moments. Meals consist of cold military rations eaten on the go. The roar of the engine, the thundering of the cannon, and the constant grinding of metal create an unending assault on the senses. The psychological pressure is no less overwhelming. Every mission entails danger, and every second is a gamble. Sharp minds have to be constantly on alert. A single misstep might turn into catastrophe. In this fight for life together, there forms an indelible bond between them. A bond not easily understood by many who have never experienced it in the military. For all its armor and weaponry, the Russian tank is nothing without its crew. It is not the machine, but the people inside it that make it strong. The three men, driver, gunner, and commander, are molded into a team by fire, sweat, and sacrifice. Inside the tank, they share everything: victories and defeats, fear and laughter, hope and exhaustion. The bond between them is more than just friendship. It's trust in its purest form. Operating a tank means to deny comfort, privacy, and safety. To operate a tank is to put your life in the hands of your crewmates and fight as one. The Russian tank is the mainstay that has formed the backbone of armored war over these years. Simple in design, the tank has stood the test of time to prove quite reliable in innumerable conflicts. The Russian tank is a machine born for war, but it is the men inside who define its legacy. To the crew, the tank is much more than a weapon. It is a home, a lifeline, and a symbol of their resilience. They put up with the heat, the noise, and the danger, not for glory, but because it is their duty. It is their sacrifice and determination that bring this steel giant to life. To the outside world, the T-72s are icons of power and destruction, but inside, they are spaces of immense hardship and humanity. For the crew, every mission is a fight, not just against the enemy, but against the elements, the machine, and their own limits. The Russian tank is a testament to what people can bear and do when they come together into one unit. It's a story of the human spirit, survival, sacrifice, and bonds inextinguishable in steel. If you like the unspoken stories of military life, there's so much more to find out. Subscribe to our channel and join us as we delve into the bravery, strength, and resilience of those who live and fight inside the machines of war. Let us together honor the stories behind the steel